We're starting on Greenwood Avenue between 50th and 51st Street, a quiet tree-lined block guarded like Fort Knox. This is where Barack Obama's house still stands. He doesn't live here anymore, but he still owns the place. What's wild is just how close this is to Englewood, less than 10 minutes west. If you caught our last walkthrough, you already know what Englewood represents: grit, struggle, survival. But now we've crossed an invisible line and everything changes. This is Hyde Park, a place where the streets are quiet, the money is old, and the history runs deep. Same city, same South Side, but a whole different world. Let's walk. Hyde Park sits on the South Side, but it's a world apart from the chaos just a few blocks west. Ivy-covered buildings, historic mansions, tree canopies that curve overhead like guardians. It's old money, old ideas, and deep influence, but none of it happened overnight. Back in the late 1800s, this area was actually a suburb. It wasn't even part of Chicago until 1889. Even then, it was known for its educated crowd, thanks to one powerhouse anchor, the University of Chicago. That's the pulse of Hyde Park. The university isn't just a school, it's a global research center, home to dozens of Nobel laureates. It's where the first self-sustaining nuclear chain reaction happened under the bleachers of Stagg Field, where economics was redefined, where urban planning was shaped. Hyde Park's power doesn't come from flash, it comes from ideas, but Hyde Park was never immune to America's contradictions. As the city evolved, so did this neighborhood. In the mid-1900s, as the population shifted and new residents moved in, Hyde Park had a choice. Where other neighborhoods built walls, this one tried to build bridges. It became a national case study in integration, urban renewal, and community planning. Organizations popped up not to fight change, but to manage it on their terms. That experiment in balance is why Hyde Park looks the way it does today. You'll see brownstones with historic plaques next to bookstores filled with banned titles, tenured professors grabbing lunch next to longtime locals who've seen the neighborhood through it all. Hyde Park is diverse, not just in people, but in thought, expression, and energy, and it has no shortage of high-profile residents, past and present. Take Obama, for example. This is where he built his political foundation, where he taught constitutional law at the University of Chicago, where he met his wife, raised his daughters, held fundraisers and strategy meetings. The house on Greenwood? It's not just property, it's a symbol of ambition rooted in place. Even if he doesn't live here anymore, the ties run deep and the connections go further. Hyde Park has long attracted influential figures, from religious leaders to academics to artists. Walk long enough and you'll pass homes that once belonged to global icons, Nobel winners, civic pioneers. This neighborhood isn't about celebrity, it's about impact. Take a turn onto 53rd Street and you'll see the future rubbing shoulders with the past. New developments, upscale grocers, and cafes sit beside old diners and family-owned bookstores. Hyde Park doesn't erase its history, it layers it. And if you're paying attention, the past still speaks. Spots like Valois Cafeteria are institutions here. Simple, no frills, but full of character. It's been a favorite of politicians, professors, and locals alike. A place where the conversations at the next table are probably smarter than the ones you'll hear on the news. And on the eastern edge of the neighborhood, rising fast, is the Obama Presidential Center in Jackson Park, a multi-million-dollar project that promises to be both a monument and a magnet, a cultural hub that pulls global attention straight back to these streets. But despite the institutions and investment, Hyde Park remains grounded. You'll still see kids riding bikes past mansions, block clubs organizing cleanups, jazz clubs tucked into basements. The streets are calm, but they're watching, listening. Hyde Park isn't loud, but it moves with intention. The wealth here isn't always financial, it's academic, cultural, political. It's in the libraries, The lecture halls, the living rooms where ideas are shaped before the rest of the country catches on. So as this walkthrough wraps, remember, Hyde Park doesn't flex. It doesn't need to. It lets its legacy do the talking. This is Hyde Park, silent power, lasting influence, and a story still being written.